Yes, 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 here we go. Welcome to the Restoration Group podcast, where sometimes we are silly, but always, we are serious about investing in Oklahoma City leaders who desire to integrate their Christian faith into their business. I am your host, Clay Steves, and today I am joined by both of my co-hostesses, Aaron Scott and Michael Mead. Team, how we doing?
It's hostai. The plural is hostai.
I'll change my notes.
Yeah, could you? That'd be great.
Good for the next one. Yeah. That's how we're doing today, huh?
I was going to say, how many Z's did you put on that?
I don't know.
I think Aaron's right, though.
It's hostai.
Okay, hostai.
Hostai.
I see, now, to begin, I see we have a different fidget spinner this week.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes. Last time I was unprepared for how much I would appreciate a fidget, and so I just had to grab the paper clip off my paper.
That was strong flying by the seat of your pants.
Yes,
well done. Yeah.
But I mean, if this isn't growth, look at me learning and getting better.
Wow.
I have come prepared with a fidget that I stole off a coworker's desk. She doesn't know I have it right now, but she's not there, so I'll return it.
2 episodes and 2 references to her taking things from coworkers that they don't know anything about. We will find out if they're watching, right?
It's a community here.
That's cool. Yeah.
Wow.
How you doing today, Michael?
I don't want Aaron to take my stuff. I'm now concerned. I'm wondering what she might already have.
Don't worry about
That's the best part is you just have to be observant and find out.
Real talk, though, I thought you accidentally took one of my computer chargers for a long time. And just like in my mind was like, man, I think Aaron took that and just forgot that she had it. And then I found it at home.
Why did you think I would have taken it?
There was a specific reason that I can't recall now.
Okay.
I think I might have.
Because you clearly have a track record of taking things, Aaron.
Yeah, it's just you're a theft.
Okay, wow.
So that escalated quickly.
Yeah, that did.
Well, and here's what I'm just now recognizing.
Yeah.
I blamed you for it. And blame is a strong word. I wasn't like...
But an accurate, strong word.
I blamed you for it, but I never asked you about it.
Yeah,
That was the disconnect on my part.
This episode is not about avoidance, but we'll have a different one on that, right?
Well, and I found it.
Yeah. Earmark that story,
at my
though.
house.
Believing the best, avoidance.
Yeah.
Like, there's lots of lessons within this story.
Yeah.
That's how you...
I have my computer chargers. I have 2. That's why it wasn't urgent either, because I had another.
Now you're just bragging about how many computer charges you have.
That's good.
You don't have 2? You have 2.
All right, I'm going to transition. I love it. All right, so today's episode, I don't know if I can even make a connection, so I'm just going to jump to it. I was trying to see if I could weave it, but no shot. Today's episode, we're going to focus on patience. We're going to focus on patience, which is one specific principle that we have chosen, that we've designated in our integrated business guide, which you can download. By the way, in the show notes, click the link and you can get this free copy of it. But we're believers here at Restoration Group that integrating your faith into your business is not programmatic. It is not 1, 2, 3, 4. It is not plug and play. And so what we have done is taken hard-earned lessons that we have had as leaders and entrepreneurs, leading a small business, principles that you can apply. And that's what we want to do today, is talk about one of those principles, the principle of patience. And I have to start by sharing, I feel a little inadequate, maybe not even qualified to talk about patience, considering I think it was just this morning I was barking at my kids, on the way out the door, losing my cool. And even in the business setting, I can think back, there was a specific meeting. There was a friend named Don, and he was in the same industry back in the day. And he came to my office and was helping me work through a business plan and some projections for the year. And we'd been bantering and going for a while. And at the very end, he stops and he looks at me and he goes, "Clay, you have unrealistic timeline expectations." And I needed to hear it, but that was not fun to hear. It was incredibly painful because naturally I'm not patient. When do you need this? Yesterday. That's how I feel on the inside. And so I guess when I say that patience is core, right? It's a principle to integrating your faith in a business. How does that make the two of you feel on the inside when you hear that?
I thought that the 3 of us were talking about it because we were doing an episode on what not to do.
Well, sometimes that's the best way to learn.
Because I think earlier today you used the phrase, and you kind of just alluded to it, of I want to achieve this or do this or whatever yesterday. I feel like all 3 of us have said that very genuinely I'm going to say in the last 90 days.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought we were waiting on like a fourth person to come in and be like the expert on this because yikes.
They were supposed to join us on Zoom and just the connection wasn't working. So now it's just up to us.
Gotta make it work.
Well, we're going to make it happen.
Yeah. In a similar vein to Aaron, but in a more vulnerable way of expressing it. So all three of us, I know, and I know you guys are comfortable with me sharing this. We all believe in counseling. We all use counselors as a resource for our mental health, emotional health in general. So I'm going to counseling right now. And this was 2 weeks ago, like super recent. But my counselor, who is so kind but so firm, was just like, I think a lot of the challenges you're wrestling with right now are a result of your inability to be patient with the process. I was just like, I'm paying you money. Like, what's wrong with you? Why did you hurt me like that? But yeah, she told me that, and then I didn't know this was going to be the episode we were going to record for this. So when you sent this over, I was like, whatever, I'm okay. I'll show up. But yeah, I'm with Aaron, like working on that, working on patience.
Well, and it's funny that you bring up counseling. I didn't know you were going to do that because when I was reading over the notes, that is actually something that my counselor has talked about, and my husband and I talk about a lot. Are it's like the should mindset, like you should do this by now, or you should feel this way about something, or you should react this way. And that's what stuck out to me in thinking, like, and looking through the notes about like that there's a place, and it's kind of like when people talk about like making it, or like you get there, like where is there? Like, and where have we made it to? And so the should mindset, I think a lot with patients of like, well, I should be able to do this by now or by yesterday. But it's like, I don't really know who is determining that outside of me. And I'm not a great litmus test for that, at least for myself.
Yeah.
Or mostly for myself.
Yeah. The other thing I think about, and it's like become a part of our common language, but it comes from the TV show, The Chosen. And one of the things that they, as they're showing Jesus interacting with the disciples, and I feel in good company with them.
You mean the disciples, the ragtag bunch?
Yes,
yeah, me too.
I think they might have wrestled with patience a little bit as well. And so they're always asking Jesus, when is blank? When is the kingdom going to be here? When are we going to overtake Rome? When are da-da-da-da-da? And he's just like, soon. It's like, what does that mean? And so we say that a lot, kind of like, it's almost become a joke that has a meaningful reminder to it of just like, when is this thing going to happen? Soon, Michael. That could be 50 years from now.
Could be after we're dead.
Soon.
Right? It could literally be. But
tomorrow.
Yeah. Yes.
Which would be great.
Yeah. I just had to throw that in there.
Could yesterday be an option? Yeah. No? Okay. All right. Yeah. I think that's I appreciate both of you, like the vulnerability that you both even just shared there. Because I think that's essential to recognize. Again, we aren't naturally patient. I think that's what we're all expressing in our own different ways. We aren't naturally there. And that was one of the reasons, like my transition notes talk about, well, then why do we have patience? Why is that a principle for us to integrate our Christian faith at the business? And I think that very expression, even as we just went around, is the reason why, is because patience is, like, so remember, it's a fruit of the Spirit. Right? It is not natural to us. It's from Galatians 5, right? If we talk about that, which the fruit of the Spirit, the fruits of the Spirit are, it's the fruit of the Spirit, right? Which is the character of Christ is what we're talking about. So it is not us. And if we are patient, which we all, we're having fun and playing that of all of our moments when we're not, but I know you to be extremely patient at times. I know you to be extremely patient at times. I know me to be extremely patient at times. At business, at home, as friends, as spouses, but yet it is not our default wiring. It is the Spirit coming through us. So that's one reason we chose it, because I believe that's, again, critical for us. Another, and I have really enjoyed The Chosen so far. I've enjoyed the series. I thought they've done a wonderful job. But it is just, listening to it, watching the videos, and then even in my readings, there's so many agrarian themes not a part of my life right now. Like I'm the
Right
farthest.
now?
I know I'm not anything of a
Soon.
Okay, touche. Never a part of my
Okay.
life from the suburbs of Edmond. I got it. But of course, biblically and in Jesus's time and the people he was with, these things were relevant to them. And so there's so many teachings of Jesus that have, harvests and seasons and like agrarian nature to them. And if we look at those, like reaping and sowing, these things do not happen fast. And they are so much out of our control, right? It takes a level of patience, not in our nature. And so one of the things I recently heard on this was the phrase, I can't remember where I heard it. Maybe one of you, if I've talked about it to you, will remember, but the phrase, kings are made in the wilderness. Kings are made in the wilderness. And if you even think about King David being anointed king as a little boy, and then it's like, okay, go back to being a shepherd because it's going to be a long, long time. And you're going to have to be underneath the guy that you're going to have to end up honoring, who's trying to kill you, throwing spears at you, but you're going to have to wait in the wilderness, even though or Joseph, who's having these dreams about how he will be above his brothers and above even his father and his family, but yet he's going to be sold into slavery by his brothers and obliterated into a jail in Egypt. And so, but these men, they were formed in those seasons, right? There was a changing of their flesh. It was a spiritual forming in them to prepare them for something. So patience, again, the seasons.
Yeah. We can't skirt over those stories. Like the time periods we're talking about are years.
Yeah, the decades.
Of
Like
time.
how long
Like
Joseph was in prison blew me away because it's like one verse and then
Yes.
you're done. It's like, oh, I'm just moving on. It was 17
Yeah.
seconds. And it's like, oh, he was there years.
Yeah.
The cupbearer forgot him
Yeah.
for years
Yes.
in a prison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait for something for days at times. Like,
Yesterday.
And so I have to remember, because it's so easy to read the verse and then be on to the next part where he's like, oh, he's second in command. Years.
Yeah.
Like it's a long time
Years.
to be patient on God's timing, which is
Yeah.
really.
And I got one more story on that, and then I'll pass to you guys. And it's actually even about the two of you.
Oh.
Yes.
I can't wait.
But I can distinctly remember, how long have we known each other?
Years.
Years.
But really.
More than a decade?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And I can remember a distinct thought that I had back then where I even remember talking to Kirsten about it, where I was like, it would be so incredible. And I had it about both of you, not in general. If someone like Aaron, if someone like Michael, if the company we founded or the place we worked, or even if God called me to be the leader, that those type of people would want to come work with me. I distinctly remember having that thought, and I distinctly remember talking to Kirsten about it. And now we sit here and it's our norm and et cetera. But back then, that was a place where that was aspirational and not the reality for me. And it was a different season. And I'm very blessed to have you guys on the team and as partners with me now. But I just think like sometimes that's why it matters, is the level of patience you have to be willing to sit in to be like, God, I need this person. Like for years, we've been looking, that's a theme right now, but like we don't need a CFO internally, but like a financial counselor, a financial consultant who works with us and understands, but we've just been praying for those eyes because God will bring them in the right time. That's his process, just like he brought the two of you years and years on. So that was just my story, even with my own journey and patience, and now how God has brought the two of you in this season to be here.
Yeah. It's got to be because of my deck building skills, right? That desire existed.
No, we'll tell those stories on another day.
Later.
That's another day.
I-
Second breakfast.
The thing that makes me think of is when that season you were talking about,
Yeah.
and what you were building, I wasn't interested in yet. And so I'm just thinking through the timing of like, you had this desire for me or Aaron specifically. And if you don't mind me saying for Aaron too, like neither one of us were great fits for you in that season
Yeah.
of the work that was being done.
Yeah.
And so the timing is what was out of your control, and quite frankly, out of both of our controls.
Yeah.
And this is the result we get to live in today. But it happened outside of the timing that you wanted, maybe. And it certainly was outside of the timing of what I was thinking was going to happen in my life, which I just think is cool.
It is. What's behind patience being essential for you, Aaron, at an integrated business specifically? What's behind What do you think supports patience being core?
Well, I think because you're talking about integrating your faith into business, because you just talked about fruit of the Spirit, patience being one of them. So because I think in the just business world, patience would probably not be at the top of anyone's like principles that they are trying to live by for the most part. Yeah. I would say that's generally
it's not a common core value on people's walls.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Right. Yeah. But conversely, if you go to Hobby Lobby, you know, patience is, you know, I'm joking, but like it's a fruit of the Spirit, and it's part of the foundation of being a follower of Christ. And so if we're talking solely business, then I would argue like, no, probably not that important. Right. But if we're talking integrating faith into business, then I don't think you can't just pick and choose which parts that you bring. I think that would get pretty messy and pretty complicated. So I think bringing those parts of your faith to business is, you kind of have to. Yeah. Probably what I would say, whether you like it or not, and I would say sometimes we don't, or probably most of the time we don't. But it's important to.
There has been, like earlier, there was a vein from all of us about like when we were being called to patience, it was being painful. There was a vein of that. You talked about your counselor saying to you and it hurt. I talked about Don, right, saying it to me and it hurt. And even as you were talking, it reminded me of because you got brought up Galatians 5 again, the fruit of the Spirit. And remember, that's connected to even John 15, talking about pruning, being cut back to produce more fruit. That's the fruit it's talking about. So the cutting back often comes from these painful, hard seasons. And so if you're going to integrate it into business, it will be painful. And yeah, okay. I don't know. That just stirred for me.
There's I made a note somewhere on this. I didn't know exactly where it fit, but this is making me think of it. This is not a plug for this guy, but I follow a guy. I think his handle on Instagram is Scott the Painter. Painter. Yeah. You should look it up. He does really cool graphics of things that are rooted in faith. But are also like pretty real, like, oh, that kind of hurts, but that was really good. And probably one of his favorite ones of mine is, I wish I had it pulled up so I could show the video portion. But it's a cheetah, and the cheetah has casts on its legs, and it's walking across a finish line. And the caption is, "Have grace for your pace." And talking about the pain of like being patient, the pain of maybe not being able to go at the speed that you would want. Or, you know, I think the implication or the thing that he's implying is like a cheetah is known to be fast and, you know, like all these things, but that's not always your season. That's not always reality in that moment or in that circumstance or whatever the case is. And so in light of talking about the pain of that, sometimes you got cast on and you're just limping across the finish line of whatever that is, a project, a season in your life, you know, something going on in your business, in your family, whatever. So yeah, I think a lot of times it's really painful. And I think, again, the integration of faith part is, do we have grace for that? Like, do we have grace for that for ourselves? Do we have grace for that for our employees or our teammates?
Yeah. Man. Because even earlier you teased and talked on the, maybe like you said, where do those expectations are almost a shame that we put on ourselves? Like, where does that even come from other than our own? And that's the place where we've got to give ourselves grace, because that voice is so harsh. At least my voice is harsh when I fall short of whatever. Not yesterday, I didn't run as fast as a cheetah. Never run as fast as a cheetah, just to over clarify. So let's keep making it practical. So we talked about it in principle, but like, let's make it practical. Where do you all see patience practically being leveraged? Right. So you said it wouldn't normally, and in most businesses, it isn't something that they're saying patience is the way we're going to go win. We're going to be patient. That's not it.
Woo. Just feel like that's like,
put on a t-shirt.
Yeah. Like a big, like you have all your stuff together. You're like, guys,
we found it.
Yep. This is our vision for the new year.
Patience.
People are like updating their resumes.
So then how does it practically, how do you see it practically being leveraged? Like purposefully within a business?
I'm going to go first.
Go.
Because I see one that's so clear and it makes so much sense for this to be Aaron's answer. So I'm going to steal it from you just in case. And I don't know. We didn't swap notes, so I don't know what you're going to say. So
you'll know by my face whether or not this was my answer.
I'm sorry if it was. But I really do think one of the most tangible, practical ways, especially for a small business owner or leader, this business is growing and they have a need to grow their team and hire someone.
Yes.
Being impatient in the hiring process will kill you if you hire the wrong person.
Man.
And so knowing you have this need in your business, you have the need today or yesterday to have this person.
Yes.
You're doing the interviews, you're getting a few applicants, but I really believe people know that they don't have the right applicant. But their inability to be patient and wait and embrace that tension.
But we need this role done
That's right.
now.
And I'm tired of doing the work, Michael.
Yes.
Like I am tired of doing that.
But what people have to understand, and I know you guys believe, is hiring the wrong person will be so much more work for you.
True.
It will be so much harder for your team.
Yes.
You will maybe have to fire them, or they will just not work, and then you'll have to go hire them again. So it's like being patient in that process will yield a great result for your business. And I have seen us do that. I've seen us go through a whole round of interviews, our whole process. We've interviewed everyone for a role we really needed, and nobody had a thought that like, that's the person. And it was kind of demoralizing, but it was like, all right, the right decision is to start over. So let's do it again. And that's what we did. And we ended up finding someone that was a great hire, but it was through the process of being patient in that tension. Was that your answer?
No, but it was like, but I want to give props to, that's an incredible practical example. And I think mine maybe kind of segues off yours. So way to jump in and go first, because I think in the process of looking for what you were calling like the right person, the right applicant, whatever we want to call it. I think even taking a step back and being able to be patient with like where the person is today is maybe not where you need them to be or would hope they could be or believe that they could be. And I think, and I don't really know that I have a good practical, like outside of like praying about it, which not to diminish prayer, but like, I don't know that there's a good practical way to really determine that. But I think being patient with where people are and like, maybe it's like, you know what, it's not the right time. It's not the right time for this person, but man, this person would be a good fit somewhere else in our company down the road. Have the patience for that. Or like this person has the ability or capacity to do this, but they can't do this today. But we could find a seat for them somewhere else now and be patient. This is not going to be shocking to you guys, but I mean, that's why when you said this answer so easy, I was like, that's the same answer, because for me, this answer was easy because of my own journey to be on this team. And because it was like the season I was in when I came on the team was like, I need to do really low level things because that's all I have the capacity to do right now. And I appreciate your patience in realizing that maybe later down the road I could do more, but today's not that day, you know? But being patient in that. And I think that has helped me to be more patient with other team members and more empathetic to like different seasons. But along with what you're saying, even in the hiring and like recruiting process of like, maybe this is the right person, but the wrong time, or maybe this is the right person, but the wrong seat. There are a lot of possibilities.
I've got a practical follow-up on your thing, because you said maybe the thing you do is pray for kind of revelation of if they are. I think also what you can do practically, is you can, like, I know you're a cheetah. So I know that you can run crazy fast. You had casts that season. And so I think there is a practical element that you could look and go, I know this person is a high performer. They may not be able to perform at a high level right now for circumstances of life or whatever. But I think that's a practical lens you can use when you're trying to be patient, right? Because if you have someone that maybe has never performed at a high level and you're being, and I'm doing quotes if you're not watching the video, and you're being patient for them to become a high performer, they might actually just not have the capacity to. They may not be able to run as fast as a cheetah, right? They might be a warthog.
Wow.
You didn't even take it down to like a semi-fast cat. It was just like...
Well, I'm just saying. Thank goodness I called you a cheetah before that. That was good. But I think that can be a practical, application where you're like, oh, I can be patient here because you see the cheetah healing. You see the person going through the process and you recognize those casts will come off when the healing happens. Those and I know they will be able to. And oftentimes those people are stronger. They are because they have a greater awareness and appreciation, maybe even of the gifts that they have that were reined in or slowed down. Yeah. So that's a practical thing.
Well, and as we use the word integration, I think it's just so important in this moment to recognize what we just talked about is having awareness that your team, your employees, even yourself are an integrated human. So what's going on in your personal life as a leader, to think your team is not bringing that to the workplace is just silly. Yeah. Like you have to
that was a nice word. That's a nice way to put it.
Very gentle.
It's just silly. That is, and so Aaron, what I hear you talking about, and Clay, what you're saying is like have the situational awareness, which starts with caring about your people enough to know what's going on in their life.
Yeah. That's good.
And recognize that maybe in this season, something is going on in their personal life that is just, maybe it's safe to say, more important than the role they're playing on your team.
Come on.
And so be patient with them, help them get through that.
Yeah.
Aligned with Clay, what you're saying, you have to have some reasonable belief that they can improve it and perform at a higher level. But just that integration of like, they are whole people. We are whole people. Yeah. And when my personal life is struggling, it affects how I can perform here at work.
Yeah. It's good.
And the final little caveat that I want to throw in with this before we even kind of move to our finish and close, avoidance is not patience. But
say it again.
Avoidance is not patience, because in every dynamic we're talking about, there is active engagement in that waiting season. There is dialogue, there is conversation. Because even you can be a witness to, you and I talked about that very season you were in frequently, so that we maintained a high level of awareness together as to where you were. And so if you're a leader who is avoiding conversations that we're talking about and being like, man, I'm being really patient with that employee, it's like, no, actually you're not. You're just avoiding the conversations you need to be having with them. So that's a blind spot I have fallen in. It's a pitfall I've had. But so avoidance is not patience. Avoidance
You're
is
just
not
avoiding
patience.
the messy.
That's exactly right. You're not being patient, because being patient is engaging the messy and then leaning into the spirit to be able to allow a long process to play out.
Good.
Yeah. Final thoughts?
Yeah. That's yes. Everything we're saying. Yes. Have grace with yourself. Grace for your pace. I love that phrase.
It is good.
Yeah.
Trademark
I'm sure most people
else.
listening to this are struggling with patience. And so just have grace for yourself on the journey.
True. Yeah.
Whether that's with yourself or someone else, or probably all the above at all times in different formats.
Yeah, what they said. All right, so our closing verse for today is from James 5, 7 and 8. Be patient, then, brothers and sisters, until the Lord's coming. Soon, right? This is me now just caveating soon, right? Soon. Be patient, then, brothers and sisters, until the Lord's coming. See how the farmer waits for the land to yield its valuable crop, patiently waiting for the autumn and the spring rains. You too be patient and stand firm, because the Lord's coming is near. Thank you for joining us today. It is a privilege for us. And until next week, choose life. Thanks for tuning into our show. If you want to learn more about how you can integrate your faith into your business, download our integrated business guide for free by clicking the link in the show notes below. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time.